Hey everybody, this is TB Shores, and today I believe is March the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I just wanted to get on here and work on another video concerning what God has been showing me with Passover. And I think we left off, we had looked at the dates, and I had said that when I come back we was going to look at the timeline that God had given me. So what I want to do is I want to explain this that I told you to just ignore for a few minutes on the last video, because I want to lay out this entire timeline and hopefully work in things concerning Passover and the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ to where you can get a better picture of how everything ties in together. But this right here, it says heavenly occurrence. And then I have written, this cosmic event will be seen by all. The bride will know it is the warning before the darkness. Okay? And I'm going to explain to you what God had told me about this and how I come about this knowledge. Here I have 3 hours / days. And the reason being, let's go over here to the scripture. This came out of Matthew 27. And if we look here, where we see the death of Christ. In verse 45 it says, now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Okay, what I want to point out here is we have this 3 hours. From the 6th hour to the 9th hour. We have 3 hours of darkness. And as God was showing me the other things about the death, burial, and resurrection and what it had to do with the bride, this was the part that confused me. That's why I said, wait and let me explain. Because I couldn't figure out how the 3 hours was part of this and what it meant. So I prayed about it one night. I'd been studying and, doing some research and this and that and the other. And so I prayed about it and went to bed. Well, sometime through the night, or it might have been early the next morning, but it was on November the 1st, 2013. I got this word from the Lord, and He just simply woke me up and just spoke to me. 3 hours is as 3 days. Well, immediately I got up and wrote it down because I knew it had to do with what I had asked Him about this 3 hours. And so when I got up the next morning and I started working on it, I said, okay, Lord, you told me 3 hours is as 3 days. And since I was having trouble understanding, I take it that you mean that literally. This 3 hours is the same as 3 days. And that is the understanding that I got from the Lord on this. That this 3 hours was like a warning of darkness. It's what He's showing here in this scripture. And it's 3 hours of darkness. But it is alluding to the 3 days of darkness. And this 3 hours also, it's like a twofold meaning, also represents 3 days. 3 hours is as 3 days. That we will see not necessarily a 3-hour darkness, but a type of, because I thought, well, what caused this? And it was an eclipse. So the Lord led me to understand that we would see an occurrence in the heavens. Not necessarily an eclipse 3 days beforehand as a warning of the 3 days of darkness. But we would see a type of heavenly occurrence that would be something everyone around the world would be aware of. Because here it says in verse 45, there was darkness over all the land. All. And the Lord stressed that to me. It was something all would see. So that's how we get this heavenly occurrence right here. 3 days, approximately 3 days before the onset of what's to take place during this 3 days of darkness. I think I showed you this, didn't I? Yes, where the Lord had told me. Another thing I want to point out about this is that I constantly, we all have different numbers that we see continually. And I constantly see 111. It's either 111 or 1111. And sometimes it's in the form of 1111 or 1 and then 11 or 11 then 1. But it's something I see continually. It's just every day. We won't get into what all that may possibly mean, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I feel like it was important that the Lord showed me this on 111. Okay, I'm going to cut this off right now because I want to keep these brief. Someone's trying to transcribe them for someone that needs them transcribed, and I'm going to try to keep them short, and that way they'll load faster, easier to transcribe, and maybe I won't get as scattered in my thoughts. If you would pray for me as I continue to try to lay out this timeline for you. Next, when we come back, we're going to look at what comes after this warning that we see in the heavens 3 days before things start to happen, okay? And then I'm going to explain some of this here about the midnight cry and the awakening and how all this lines up with things we see in Exodus, with things that we see pertaining to the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. And also how the Lord took me to Revelations and showed me how this ties in at this time frame. I'll be back shortly. I hope this is helpful. And please just pray for me. The Lord will guide me in this. Thank you. Bye-bye.